Seth Godin, the best-selling author and marketing guru who sold his business Yo-Yo-Dine to Yahoo for $30 million, writes, "In a crowded marketplace, fitting in is failing. Not standing out is the same as being invisible. Boring is invisible. Remarkable people and products get talked about." Winston Churchill, the legendary former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, who stood up to Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime when nobody else would, once said, "You have enemies? Good. That means you've stood up for something, sometime in your life." The famous philosopher Aristotle once wrote, "There's only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing." So on today's show, we celebrate the success and the boldness of the thriver Steve Currington. Steve Currington is the founder of the Lambros YouTube channel and the man who has decided to auto-wrap his $244,000 Lamborghini with a Donald J. Trump for President auto-wrap.
This Channel 8 starts now.
Coal, big oil, and your tears are what's running, like literally running my car.
Tulsa man uses his nearly $250,000 car to show support for President Trump. It's pretty hard to miss, and that's just how the man behind the wheel wanted it. He's a local business owner who didn't want any question on which candidate he supports. Only on 8, Haley Huey talks with him about the kind of reactions he's getting.
There's no hiding Steve Currington's political stance.
Here we go.
Currington, who also goes by Lambros Steve, put this pro-Trump wrap on his $240,000 Lamborghini a couple weeks ago. He's driven it all around Oklahoma and says he purposely made it over the top to get reaction out of people.
His head is the whole roof, because I wanted people, as I come up behind you, to be able to see that Trump's watching you. The president is watching you.
Currington has all different nods to Trump's presidency, between total acquittal on the windshield to the gas tank, saying it's fueled by liberal tears. Currington says the reaction so far has been mostly positive.
We get people wanting to take pictures with it. We get families, grandmas, grandpas, kids just wanting to get a picture with the president on the side of the car.
But some of it, not shockingly, negative.
We had a few F-bombs out windows, and just had one actually in Bixby where a guy was hanging out his window screaming and yelling at me.
Driving in downtown Tulsa, a lot of people could not believe what they saw.
Yeah, dog, it's the top that killed me, dog. That's crazy, man.
I had to ask if the wrap would come off if President Trump were to lose the 2020 election.
He's not going to lose, but if he loses, it is what it is.
For now, Currington says nothing will stop him from driving his one-of-a-kind statement across the country. But his ultimate goal is for Trump to see it himself. In Tulsa, Haley Huey, Tulsa's Channel 8.
3, 2, 1, boom! You are now entering the dojo of Mojo and the Thrive Time Show.
Thrive Time Show on the microphone. What is this? Top of the iTunes charts in the category of business. Drilling down on business topics like we are a dentist. Providing you with mentorship like you are an apprentice. And we go so fast that you might get motion sickness. Grab a pen and pad to the lab. Let's get in this. It's time to bear some fruit like some Florida oranges. 3, 2, 1. Here come the business ninjas.
Sonic boom.
Oh, yes, 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 and yes. Steve Currington, I'm so glad you are today's guest. How are you, sir?
I'm amazing.
Steve, you and I have been working together for about 5.5 years, and recently I feel like we've come together to create a beautiful business baby. And can you share with the listeners about your incredible Lamborghini? What kind of auto wrap you've decided to put on this beautiful, majestic vehicle?
Yeah, we did the Trump 2020 themed wrap for the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Powered by liberal tears. We really just, if you're listening, you should just go Google Trump Lamborghini. We own, I think, the first 2 pages of Google now, because it's been pretty epic. But there's about 1 million pictures of it online now, so you can check it out. But yeah, that's made quite a splash.
Now, if I'm driving down the road and I see your Lamborghini behind me, what will I see in the rearview mirror?
You'll see Trump staring at you, because I put his eyes on the brow of the car and his head on the roof. And it sits a little low, so when you look back, you'll think Trump is watching you.
Now, my wife and it's interesting because my wife is very similar to your wife in many ways, and I'm very similar to you in many ways. And one is that I do not care about the criticism of others at all, and nor do you.
Right.
And so the teaching moment I want to talk about today, and I'm not asking you don't have to be a conservative to like this show, although you should be. Here's the deal, is that the power of Trump-tastic memorable marketing. You've never had a hard time standing out. And Seth Godin, the best-selling author of The Purple Cow, says, in a crowded marketplace, fitting in is failing. Not standing out is the same as being invisible. Boring is invisible. Remarkable people and products get talked about. When you drive a Lamborghini and you pull into a gas station, even if it's not wrapped in a Donald Trump theme and a President Trump theme, what kind of reaction do you get every time?
Oh, everyone wants to check it out, sit in it, take pictures. They want to know what I do for a living, how much it costs, what horsepower it has, how fast have I had it. So it creates a lot of conversations.
How many people are not happy about you having a Lamborghini? Even if it's not Trump wrapped, you just have a Lamborghini. How many people are not happy about it when you pull up and get gas as a percentage?
A large percentage of people are happy about it, but you have the 10% of the general population, I think is what it is. It's just a hater. They hate no matter what you pull up in. If you're doing better than them, then they hate you, and you must be cheating or doing something to get to where you're at. So you get a lot of some negative people, but for the most part, we get a lot of good reactions from the car without a wrap on it.
Now, last night, one of the bloggers out there, I believe the name of the article was Tulsa Douchebag Auto Wraps a vehicle in, Tulsa Douchebag Lamborghini. Let me Google search. Everybody Google search Tulsa Douchebag Lamborghini. By the way, that could be a kind of a nice product line you could come up with, Tulsa Douchebags. But Tulsa Douchebag, man, Auto Wraps Lamborghini in Trump-themed. When you have an article written about you that says Tulsa Douchebag tours Oklahoma in Trump-themed Lamborghini, does that bother you at all? Because I told my wife, I bet you like it because I like it too.
No, I love it. I mean, it's great. I'm like, how did he know that I was a douchebag just by watching that? I mean, wow, talk about nailing it. I mean, good job. You figured me out pretty quick, and you haven't even met me before, so that's great.
Now, my partner, Dr. Robert Zellner, he has an optometry clinic where he does the $99 glasses. It's $99 for the first pair of glasses and your first exam. And he's open 7 days a week. And a lot of optometrists hate the idea that he's open 7 days a week. People have actually said that it's unethical to be open 7 days a week. And you're a mortgage guy that doesn't observe government holidays. Can you explain why other mortgage people hate the fact that you do not acknowledge government holidays?
Yeah, because I get all their business. Because their referral partners call me on the days they don't answer their phone, which is usually weekends, and holidays. But yeah, it's just it makes them mad. They got to work harder. And they don't like it.
So
they don't like having to work harder.
On page 110 of the Boom Book, we quote Seth Godin, the best-selling author and the marketing guru, who writes, "You're either a purple cow or you're not. You're either invisible. You're either remarkable or invisible. You're either a purple cow or you're not. You're either remarkable or invisible. Make your choice." What would you say to the listeners out there that are not politically motivated and they just want to make their business stand out? It's easy for you. Every time you post on social media, it stands out. Every time you drive a car, it stands out. Every time you show up at a networking event, it stands out. For the faint of heart out there that are afraid of offending somebody with their marketing, what would you say?
You're never going to do anything remarkable. So if you're afraid of offending people, then no one will ever notice you. So you have to, by nature, do something that is going to offend people, because there are going to be people that like you and hate you. The difference is when you do something crazy like the things that I've done, it just, people stand out a lot quicker. But they normally won't tell you to your face that they'll never do business with you until you do something crazy like wrap your car for Trump or drive a Lamborghini.
Before you did the Trump wrap, there was somebody on Facebook back in the days, probably 2 years ago, if you remember this, with the Lamborghini, that sent you a message that said Christians shouldn't drive Lamborghinis and travel on private jets. Do you remember this message?
Yeah. He said that I needed to not flaunt my wealth. And, of course, he's poor and works for a bank and probably, is working for his wife's daddy's money, actually. So that's how it goes. I mean, people are just...
Yes.
Instead of just saying, hey, I'm jealous that you get to drive a Lamborghini, and even if I could afford it, I can't get permission from my wife to buy one or her dad, then, instead of saying that, they say, man, you shouldn't flaunt your wealth. So that's just what people do. So you just kind of have to embrace the hate.
Now we're gonna ask. We're gonna open it up for our guest to ask you some questions. But I want to bring this up for a second. The only two people we're talking about right now, and Wes, you follow politics. The only two candidates that are really being talked about right now are Bernie and Trump. Both are kind of the extremes. Now, there's probably people in the middle, but at the end of the day, they're commanding the headlines.
Yes.
Why does Bernie Sanders control the headlines, Wes, and why does Trump command the headlines?
Well, they stand out in the crowd. I mean, when you have Bernie putting forth policies that the normal centrist Democrat would even think are crazy, it swallows up all the air in the room.
There it is.
And that's all they talk about. Just like Trump with a huge Republican field in the last presidential election, everybody talked about Trump. No one else could get any press. And so by nature, the more we see people hear their name, we go to a ballot box, we're like, oh, I recognize that name. And so it's you know, it's just they gobble up all the air in the room. That's all the press talks about.
You know, I was going to my candidate that I wanted to win for president was Ben Carson. I thought that he had the most measured plan that made sense. His educational background is impressive. But at the end of the day, it was hard to remember what he said because of the way that Trump commanded the headlines. So let's break this down into business, Steve. When you get a lead from somebody who fills out your form at stevecurrington.com who's applying for a mortgage, how many times will you call that person, and how do you convince that person to get a mortgage from you and not somebody else? Because you're magical at it.
I just call them until they answer. So if that means they answer on the first call, great. If not, I'll call them usually 2 or 3 times in a row, and then I'll text them. And then I'll wait 15 minutes, and I'll call them again because they filled out a form or they applied on my website, so they must want to talk to me. And usually I don't have to call them more than 2 or 3 times when I get them.
What would you? But there's a
if
lot.
They
of
don't answer. We just call till they answer.
There's a lot of people in your industry though that won't call a lead more than once because they don't want to offend somebody. What would you say to that person? Steve, did you not like that question?
Oh, sorry, I didn't. The phone cut out there.
My bad. What would you say to somebody who's in your industry? Because I've met people in your industry. Literally, I have been asked, and this is so funny. One of your competitors reached out to me in Tulsa and said, "Could you coach me?" And I said, "I got to call Steve." If you remember this. And then you said, "Sure," because he won't implement anything anyway. And this has happened many times. I'm not talking about one specific person. And literally, given the exact same system, they won't implement it because they won't call the lead over and over and over. What would you say to somebody out there who's struggling to get up the courage to call their lead until they answer the phone? What would you say?
Quit. Go work at Walmart. You can be a greeter there. You won't have to call any leads. You can just smile at people. Just makes it easier for the rest of us that are actually working to close the deals.
And your YouTube channel, what inspires you to build the Lambros YouTube channel? What is driving this passion to make the Donald Trump themed Lamborghini and the Lambros YouTube channel?
It's just the only thing I do for fun. So I just enjoy driving my car around, driving fast, being controversial, and making people laugh. So that's kind of my outlet for doing that. Since I don't really do anything else, I don't drink or smoke or do anything like that anymore. So I just drive fast cars and piss people off. That's the move.
So, Steve, this is Wes. You take the Lambo now outside of Oklahoma, right?
Yep.
Okay. So have you yet had the experience of someone throwing a milkshake at the car, handful of change, anything like that when you get into some areas that aren't quite so right-leaning like Oklahoma, Texas? I mean, have you had any bad experiences yet where a coward will throw something and then just keep driving?
Yeah, I haven't had it like outside of Oklahoma and Texas yet, but I've had a lot of. We actually have had some crazies even in Tulsa. I had a kid hanging out his window, screaming the F word at me, and had another guy flip me off. A guy tried to cut me off, try to brake check me. So you get some crazies. It'll probably be going to California before the election.
That's a good test.
And when that happens, I'm sure we'll get some good footage. Yeah.
Oh. You have my cell phone number, so you know.
That is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, okay, if the listeners out there Google search right now, if you just Google search the phrase Lamborghini for a second, you Google search Lamborghini, and then you click on news, Steve, you're starting to draw. You're number 3 now in the world when somebody Google searches Lamborghini and looks for news. Out of 65,900,000 results, you're number 3 right now. The photo's been shared millions of times. How does, for the listeners out there that are married to somebody like your wife or like my wife, who I would say is normal, how does she process this?
The way she processes it is by not engaging in it at all. And then she just shakes her head at me. But that's what she just has always done that since we got married. She just shakes her head and takes a deep breath and then asks for God's help in dealing with a husband that's crazy. So
now, let me clear something up just for everyone out there, Steve, and that thinks you're only doing this for its pure promotional value. Do you actually support Trump?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't originally. I'm more libertarian, so I was kind of a fan of Gary Johnson at the last election. But once I realized he didn't have a chance to win, I got on the Trump train, and I'm really proud of and happy for what he's done. So I mean, I was probably after the original primary in 2016. So I've been a Trump supporter since he got elected, and before. So yeah, I'm pro-Trump.
Charles, do you have a question? I know. Do you have a question for Steve Currington about his Lamborghini, which is currently, if you Google search Lamborghini, you also drive a Lamborghini.
I do have
So if you do a search for Lamborghini and you click on news, it's the third top story in the world. Any other questions for Steve about this Lamborghini?
Well, I want to get some of those liberal tears in my gas tank because when we raced the other day, you blew me away. So there's something with liberal tears that give you a whole lot more power. So I'm just
Steve,
highly impressed with your fuel.
Yeah, well, I have actually saved quite a few liberal tears because I had more than I actually.
Can I borrow some of those for a weekend? Can I borrow some of those? Yeah. Okay, great.
No, Steve, on the back of your Lamborghini, it says it's sponsored by who? Just for the listeners out there who haven't seen the back of your Lamborghini, who does it say your vehicle is sponsored by?
Well, it just says Lambro's approved, and then it says it's powered by coal, big oil, and the tears of liberals.
Oh, Steve Currington, thank you so much. I know you have a plane to catch, but I really do appreciate you for joining us on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show.
All right, thanks, guys.
Take care, dude.
Yes, love you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so now that we've isolated or offended or one half of the audience, let's say me, have ostracized half of the audience, I want to bring it back together for a kumbaya training here because somebody out there is not able to stand out. So I'm going to pick on your businesses, Winters and King, and then Co-Law Fitness.
All right.
Winters and King is a company that, in my mind, if you said, what is the brand of Winters King? What is the brand of wintersking.com? People know that you work with Christian organizations and leaders.
Yes, that's our niche. Correct.
Now, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to work with non-Christians. But as a default, people that I have met who have asked me about using you, this is what they have said. It's more positive than negative because we live in Oklahoma. But this is what they'll say. They'll go, you work with that Winters and King people. They represent some big, Christian organizations. Do they work with non-Christians too? I just don't want to deal with all these religious craziness. And I'll say, well, the law is the law. And they, help you operate your business within the law. That's what they do. But there are certain people that just will not touch wintersking.com with a 10-foot pole because of the Christian affiliations.
Yes.
But you're upfront about it. And I hear a lot of people say, are they really Christian people? Because I like hearing Wes's voice on the show. I like what he does. I like what they stand for. I just want to get your take on this. When you have a Christian or an organization that works with a lot of Christians, do you ever get pushback at all there, Wes?
Yeah, or snide comments. I mean, even other attorneys in the community, when, hey, you haven't seen him in a while. Oh, yeah, partner Winters and King, and oh, you're with those holy rollers,
The holy rollers.
Or, hey, I'd come see you, but, we don't go to church. I have to explain to them, look, just because we run our business on Christian principles of integrity and, doing things fairly doesn't mean that all of our clients are Christians. There's no litmus test to be a client. We work with doctors and hospitals and manufacturing companies, and we have clients all over the world. So just because that's how we choose to run our business, the principles that we try to abide by as we practice law, doesn't mean that we have a litmus test for clients. And if you're a potential client and you are offended by our Christian principles, then maybe we're not a good fit. But if you're an atheist and you just want a good attorney that will do a good job for you, we're still happy to help you.
And I would like to say this, and again, not at all related to Winters King. I'm just speaking about me here, me personally. I view socialism as the antagonist against capitalism. So let me explain this idea. If there is a golden goose, we'll call it the U.S. economy. And I know it's a weird analogy. But follow me down this path. If we have a golden goose called the U.S. economy, and our economic freedom, capitalism allows us to lay the golden goose, I feel like that if you are against capitalism, you are the enemy of me. And I don't view it as like it's not a political thing for me. It's a personal thing. I just don't like you. And it's not like I don't like your worldview. I just don't like you as a person, me personally. So I'm saying not only do I not like you, you're hurting my golden goose. So I'm not going to attack you, but I'm going to try to explain the jackassery of your worldview whenever possible. Because having a socialistic worldview is one where you believe that that when a burrito tastes bad, I need to keep buying it. Follow me on this. So the other day I went to a Mexican restaurant in town called Mr. Mambo's. I went to Mr. Mambo's off of Elm, and I got good service and good products. Good service, good food. So you know what I did? I went back because capitalism is an election where we vote with our dollars. So whether you're Democrat or Republican, you vote with your dollars. Now, right here in my hands, let me grab it. I have a pair of Yeezys. These were a gift, but I believe these were $479. These Yeezys here, $479. Now, so far, wonderful clients. I have a program I've started called the Will Work for Yeezys program. And the way it works is when you hit your financial goals and you start to feel bad, because you always hear that people say it's better to give than to receive. So when you start to feel bad about all the receiving you're doing, you can just give this to me, and you're going to give that feeling of guilt and a pair of shoes to me, and I will feel bad on your behalf. It's my Will Work for Yeezys program. And so far, I have gotten, I received 6 pairs of Yeezys so far as a result of this program. And the man who makes Yeezys is Mr. Kanye West, who happens to be a born-again Christian who has decided to be a nonconformist to the worldview that if you are a rapper, you must have a certain political worldview. He understands the economy, and he's built a business that did $1.6 billion of shoe sales, reportedly, in 2019. There's another estimate that shows 1.3. Let's just say $1 billion. Good job, Mr. Kanye West.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, the reason why he's doing well is because people like the shoes. Now, you might not like the shoes, and if you do not like the shoes, you do not have to buy the shoes. But the Jordan brand also is doing well because people like the shoes. So as long as people like the shoes, the Mr. West brand, the Kanye West, the Yeezy brand will do well. The moment you stop liking the shoes, the Yeezy brand will not do well. Now, in the world of socialism, you say, I know that someone doesn't like the Spalding brand of shoes. But they say, but you need to keep buying them because the government's going to subsidize the shoes that you don't like. So think about the industries that are subsidized. Government healthcare, government education, anything government. Does it get better or does it get worse when government takes out competition? So the evil pharmaceutical companies, they're trying to make billions of dollars, are battling it out, battling for your money. So what happens is when there's a competition, if I owned a law firm and Wes owned a law firm, and my law firm wasn't as good as Wes's law firm, then you could take that money, bad for me, away from me, and take that money to Wes Carter, good for him. And then the winner, the person who wins, is called the customer. Because they, as we're competing, if I have to compete with him on better price, better service, better product, and Wes, that is the fundamental idea of capitalism.
Yes.
And but if we had socialism, and if those of you who have not traveled to other countries, I would invite you to do so. I have found that every time I've traveled out of the country, it is a major letdown. Every time I have gone, I've always wanted to come back, but I have gone to Mexico and thought, not so good. Went to Puerto Rico, turns out not really part of the U.S. Gone to Brazil, gone to Honduras, gone to Roatan, gone to Canada, don't you know? And it's not so good. It's not so good. It's not as good. Not a lot of innovation going on. Because as you remove capitalism, the competition goes down. One more example to help you is Mr. LeBron James. I don't want to get into his political views. I just want to talk about basketball. I want to walk out the idea of socialism, and we'll use LeBron James as an example. I was listening to sports talk radio the other day while picking up my son, And the caller called in and said, I cannot believe that LeBron James makes over $37 million a year on the Lakers. That's over, he's like, I make $100,000 a year. And that's over 379 times more than I make per year. And I thought to myself, that's a great thing for LeBron James, a bad thing for you. Because if you don't make if $100,000 is what you make per year, and it's not enough, then you need to solve more problems for customers that are willing to pay you. But here's how we take socialism. We say, well, LeBron James is very, very good. But the guy who called in who's upset that he doesn't make as much as LeBron, let's do this. Let's pay LeBron the exact same wage as the guy who called in. I'm asking you, how many of you would fill up an arena to watch this caller who is a school teacher? Would you fill up a stadium? Would you pay $600 to sit courtside? Would you pay $6,000 to sit courtside? Would you pay the $20,000 that some people pay to sit courtside to watch an NBA Finals game? But would you pay that same money to go watch a school teacher teach? No, you wouldn't. Which is why teachers make less. Oh, but I'm offending teachers. I don't care. It's just called economics. It's how it works. And so if you're out there saying that you're in favor of socialism, let's do this. Let's make LeBron James wear ankle weights because he's better. You say he jumps too high. Let's put ankle weights. Let's level the field. You would not like that world. And what happens is when you implement socialism, it's mandated mediocrity. Mandated mediocrity. So I'm going to go to Dateline, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Bartlesville, Oklahoma, Dateline, Kolaw Fitness. You are in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Am I right, Charles?
Yes, sir.
Amber, you're
Yes,
in
sir.
Bartlesville.
Yes.
And you have a kolawfitness.com gym.
Correct.
And there is a Planet Fitness in the same parking lot.
Same.
As you. And I'm just saying, objectively, when they moved in, were you excited about it?
No.
No. And you know what? You're my client, so I want you to win.
Yes.
Which means I want them to lose. So, and somebody out there is going, oh, I can't believe you said that. No, listen. I want them to lose because there's got to be a winner and a loser. And so in order to win, which Kolaw's doing, you've had to upgrade or hold yourself accountable to a standard of excellence that is as high as it's always been. But now you really have to think about, are we operating at a level that is as good or better than them?
True.
Because if not, the customer can do what?
They vote with their dollar. Yeah.
Yeah, and think about that. And who wins? The customer.
Yeah,
so
the
let's
customer
go to,
always wins.
The
Yeah.
customer wins. So let's go to kolawfitness.com. How much does it cost if I want to sign up for a gym membership at your gym?
Well, right now there's $1 down, and you can put $1 down, and you can use the gym for a month. If you don't like it, we'll give you your $1 back, and there's no strings attached. But as low as $5 a month would be the monthly price. And you can actually bring a friend, and the friend can use everything in the gym.
Disagree with me, Amber. If you disagree, I just want to throw it out here. I want to see what your thoughts are. I feel like you guys are like the Chick-fil-A meets fitness. That's kind of your brand. It's Christian. It's like Chick-fil-A meets. That's how I describe it. Yeah. I feel like you're kind of like the premium Honda of fitness, where you're not the Lamborghini where it costs you $300 a month to go to the gym.
Right.
But you're not a car that breaks down that people, because you buy a Honda, you get a premium Honda, those things run forever.
Yes. Yes.
Would you agree with that? Or
I would totally agree with that. We're very affordable.
Very affordable. You know your niche, though.
Absolutely.
So if somebody wanted to do well in Bartlesville as a gym, I would advise them to do one-on-one personal training in a small, maybe 1,500 square foot space and to be the best at one-on-one training.
Yep.
Would you agree that if somebody wanted to make some money in Bartlesville, that might be a move? Or what advice would you have? Because it would be hard to beat you at this point because of your size.
I agree. Yes, and the amount of diligence that we have so many minds on just that much of our company's fairly small still, and so we got a ton of people looking at every single angle of every sight, sound, smell, customer service, quality of product, pricing strategy. We're watching it like crazy. We're always adapting it to make sure that we're always equal or better to anybody, and nobody really has that type of business and fitness acumen that's going to put that time in it. Especially if you're like a franchisable big box, you're not going to put the time into it.
If you wanted to compete with Winners and King, this would be my tips, and I don't know if you agree with my tips here,
Go
Wes.
for it.
I think you'd have to be really, 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 really cheap and do a membership model kind of thing, because there's only so much of Wes Carter's head.
Yep.
And to get your head, we have to pay a premium price, which my wife and I are happy to pay. But would you agree with that, or do you think I'm off my rocker if I was a startup competing with you?
No, I think that's, pricing is always one of the major factors that you look at. And so if assuming the quality of products are equal or comparable, then you have to outcompete someone on price.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tee up the 7 common pain points of standing out in the cluttered world of commerce. The 7 common pain points of standing out in the cluttered world of commerce. And then Andrew, one of our coaches and teammates, I'm going to have him come on to ask you guys questions as well because you're entrepreneurs. But we'll go through them one by one. Sites. Kolaw Fitness. The moment you guys decided on a logo, somebody didn't like it. Somebody thought it was cool. Somebody didn't like it. The moment you decided on a color, what's it, kind of a neon green and blue, somebody didn't like it. Amber, have you ever had someone say, I don't like your color? Maybe you want more of like a red or a blue. Have you ever had that?
Well, actually, we did because we used to be red and black. And when we did a whole new branding, we went with the blue and the green. And we had people say they didn't like our
Somebody
logo.
didn't like it.
Yeah, somebody didn't like it. They wanted us to keep the red. They were really frustrated about it.
And I'm going to just go to a place that's just a horrible place. And as a female entrepreneur, you can. If I go too far, you tell me. Have there been females who don't like your directness?
Oh, I would say probably the majority of females don't like my directness.
See, I've heard there's a certain B word that is thrown around whenever a female's assertive. My wife's an assertive woman, and whenever that happens, I'll hear people that you kind of, and I've heard people say it who no longer work for me.
Yeah.
But the moment that a woman is assertive, people put a label on it sometimes, a certain not awesome brand. What would you say to the female entrepreneurs out there? They're trying to be assertive, and they're getting some pushback from some of the guys who work for them. What would you say?
You just have to understand what your strengths are, and you have to stay in your lane and know that you've got a purpose. And if you're doing what you love and you're compassionate about it, just keep doing it.
But you wouldn't give a feeling, or you wouldn't worry about a little pushback when you're doing your best and you know you're not being cruel, but people you're not going to let it bother you.
It's taken a lot of years and a lot of practice, a lot of auto suggestion to myself.
Really?
That your opinion about me is none of my business. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know that this is the lane I'm supposed to run in, and I'm going to keep running in that lane.
Charles,
I'm actually drawn.
You wish it was easier?
I wish it was. Like, I watch the guys, and they'll just get frustrated about something, and then they're over it.
Yeah.
There's no feelings that are really held on to, and it's not like that for girls. So.
Well, I was going to say, I was drawn to her direct candor, because she has a genuine care for people, but she doesn't really care about the comfort of the conversation at that time. She cares more about your personal development.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that when I first met her, and I'm like, I love her because she will tell you like it is, and I'd rather have somebody tell me like it is, and then instead of passively, aggressively beat around the bush and everybody feels this awkward situation.
Yep.
And that's where, like, when I met you, like, you're so direct, and I was like, I want him to coach me. I just know that that's how I work best, and I'm a knucklehead, so I have to, like, be told directly.
Dude, my strategy, though, does not work for everybody.
It does not.
It doesn't. There's a lot of people that don't like you either.
Yeah,
and don't like Amber. But I like it because it's like I cut so much time in that whole relationship. I just get it directly.
True story. This is a fun real estate story for you. I talked to someone today with our real estate business, and they are a very crazy person. And they were yelling at our real estate agent. I mean, yelling, saying that it's their right to buy this house. Now, the problem is they don't have funding. And our real estate agent, who's licensed, said, if you don't have funding, I can't sell the house. And they said, well, I want to do a contingency contract, take the house off the market, and I want to set the date for like 90 days. Now, this person has unbelievable credit score issues. And there's only so much I can handle before because I'm hearing about it. I pick up the phone. I said, hey, the speakerphone, this is me and one of our agents. I just want to bring this up to you. It's not a right to be able to buy a house from somebody. And the fact that you have a lot of debt that is affected your credit score, it's lower. A credit score is just an indication of how credit worthy you are. And if you're being denied from a credit bureau, and all of these all these mortgage companies, if they're all denying you, who, by the way, they make money by lending money. If they're all denying you, you just need to fix the credit score. That's what we need to focus on. But we're not part of that process. You can just, then they got into this whole it's a right thing. And so I realized they wouldn't stop calling back because this has been a long time. So I just said, I just want to make sure you know this. Never call us back again. And whenever you do that, what do you mean? I mean, you never call us back again. There's other great companies. Well, and people, when you tell them that they're not a good fit, sometimes it doesn't go so well. You try to be nice, but now the whole sounds thing, Wes, I want to get into sights and sounds. The first one was sights, the common area for the 7 pain points for standing out. Sounds. When we go into Winters and King, which I've been up there a few times, to your office, beautiful. You have, what floor of the Cityplex do you guys have?
The 59th floor.
The 59th floor of the Cityplex Tower. For those of you who are Googling the Cityplex Tower, just type in City, C-I-T-I, Plex, Tulsa. You can see it. It's a gorgeous building. When I go up there, it's very, I would say, regal.
Huh.
It feels pristine. It feels like somebody it's like there's a lawyer up there. And this is my playlist in my office here. Let me cue it up here. This is my office right now. This is what they're playing right now in my office. If you go to eitrlounge.com and you click on Clay Clark Radio, you can hear my playlist. This is my playlist right now. What are they listening to at wintersking.com right now?
Nothing for the most part. We have some soft music playing in the lobby.
Yeah.
Purposefully,
because you're lawyers,
soft enough where you can't really understand what it is.
Yes.
And because if we're too loud, then it becomes harder for the people in the other offices and the reception to answer the phones and do different things. So it's actually a very quiet office, but it's intentional for you. Intentional, right?
Right.
We've had receptionists or staff that try to make suggested comments. Want to bring in a little boom box and play some music, and it's not a good fit. Then you have to. Worry about the playlist, and people are talking over and they start yelling in the lobby to get to it, and so for some people, an ambiance I can understand. There's a good place for that, or a gym. I mean, music's a natural fit, but there are certain places where silence is the right sound that you're hearing, a lack of sound. And the other thing I would say is, from our perspective, the sound of a voice is important. So. A law firm, a receptionist is very important. Maybe it's like a front desk lady.
It'd be different for like an ideal and likely buyer for an attorney than like a gym.
Exactly.
I want to show you guys something here that is so offensive, so crazy, that I really can't show this to anybody. But I can pass it to you guys, and you can see it. And then Kendall, you cannot share with this. But this is one of my clients who went out the other day out to dinner to what appears to be Whataburger. And do not show this picture. But Wes, please describe what the person this is a real picture he took. What is the person in the picture doing? What does it appear as though the person in the picture is doing?
Yeah, it's the old move where you have these are AirPods in while they're providing customer service at the front desk taking your order.
So he said he went to make an order, and when he did, the person says, "Pardon?" And he says, I would like to order a hamburger or whatever. And they go, "What?" And he's like, "I'd like to get a hamburger." They said, "I can't hear you." And they're wearing headphones while they're at work.
Yeah.
Now, this jackassery, I went to a local gas station, not a Quick Trip, by the way. I go there to get some gas, and the new move is the lady's got the boombox you're talking about.
Yeah.
And she's listening to, no exaggeration, guys, no exaggeration, a very, 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 I know the voice, a very loud rally for Bernie. Like loud, and it's pumping. So it's not like it's a little thing like I'm listening to Bernie Sanders over here. It's like it is pumping. So people who are in line, we're in Tulsa, are kind of looking at her, and the one, it's kind of a line, and she's kind of because she's trying to listen to the part. And so there's a guy in front of me who says nothing. Next says nothing, but I can tell the guy behind me is going to say something. I can just sense like he's going to say something. You know what I'm saying? And what's interesting is that she was kind of inciting almost a riot by broadcasting her personal playlist in that place. When I used to run a company called DJ Connection back in the day, I had one guy who came to work and decided to dress kind of like Marilyn Manson one day, but he made the switch.
Yeah.
And he did the eyeliner and the black lipstick and the black hair, and he previously was not that look.
Full goth.
And he went with the boots, the Doc Marten boots, and it was like he jumped teams. And I told him, that's not how you can look. Here, you can't dress like that. Oh, he was offended. And Wes, you're an attorney.
Yeah.
We got a handbook back in the day with the company that said you had to wear a shirt and a tie and dress appropriately. For the business owners that say, I want to stand up for my sights and my sounds. What happens when it goes down like that, Wes? What can we do or not do as owners?
You've got pretty wide latitude for your dress code. I mean, there are some limitations when you start talking about treating men and women differently or possibly certain religious attire.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you've got pretty wide latitude to enforce a dress code, whether it be how you dress, hair, facial, hygiene.
And if people want to reach you for specifics, they can reach out to you. And you do like 15 minutes of free consult, right? 15?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it checks out on the website, winnersking.com.
Yeah.
Our number's on there. You can contact us electronically. It's very easy to get a hold of us.
But a little quick free 15-minute move now. Now, the next part is where we start to run into pain points when we stand out in the cluttered world of commerce. Smells and no-brainers. Go back to Co-Law Fitness. Co-Law Fitness, there's something fantastic called a clean bathroom.
Agree.
And you go into some bathrooms, and it's like, whoa. Now, you guys have always set a standard for cleanliness. A lot of gyms, not so much. How fastidious do you have to be, Amber, with enforcing? You have great managers and capable lieutenants, but how intense do you have to be about setting the standard for the smell up inside the Co-Law Fitness gym? Because that is a core differentiator, the cleanliness of the place.
Right.
How intense do you have to be and fastidious do you have to be about keeping that standard high?
Oh, we have to stay on top of that all the time. We have
daily.
Daily. It's on managers' daily checklist. They have to check it. We audit the clubs. We go in. You should smell our branded smell immediately when you walk in. That's a very important thing.
You have a branded smell?
We do.
What kind of smell is it?
We had it branded specifically. We did a bunch of research, and
so you have your own brand smell?
We do.
Yes.
That smell-tastic.
Yeah.
That smell horrific.
It's a direct opposite of meat, which attracts people.
Of meat?
Of me.
Meat?
It's a direct.
I'm just kidding.
It's the direct opposite of what I smell like, and that attracts people. So
it's my new smell called the fresh smell of Charles.
Yes.
What is that smell? Now, okay, so now we talk about no-brainers. No-brainers are powerful. No-brainers, a deal so good you can't believe it. You should try it out. So let me just give you some no-brainers. One, if you call winnersking.com, it's a free 15 minutes. It's not a free 16 minutes, not a free hour. Not a free 2 hours. Wes, I'm sure there was a time in your life where you do a free hour or free, but now we're past that time.
Yes.
Somebody out there's got to have a problem with you doing a free 15 minutes. Somebody's got to have a problem with you doing the $5 first, offer kind of thing at Co-Law. We'll get to you guys in a minute. Wes, the no-brainer. Everyone has to have a deal that's so hot. It lowers the barrier of entry that gives an opportunity for the potential buyer to try you out. I'm sure you've had people that have pushed back about the idea that you do a free 15 minutes.
They do. I mean, some on both sides. I mean, you have attorneys that just don't want to even give away 15 minutes of their time.
I've heard that.
Time is our money. That's our commodity that we trade as our time. And then on the other side, you have people who complain that, when you remind them that the 15 minutes is up, and they want to take a full hour.
Yeah.
Real quick question.
Yeah.
Real quick, they'll say real quick.
Or they're, you pretty clearly you can tell with a lot of them, they're asking you all the questions that they need because they're going to do it themselves and never hire you to do it. So they're like, what's the number of that form? And then what's the address I send that? And,
you kind of pick up on it.
Right. But, that's fine. It's a free 15-minute consultation. I'll ask them, the purpose of the consultation is, are we a good fit? Not, I'm going to give you all the legal advice you need in 15 minutes. Is let's see if we're a good fit. Here's what the cost is. Here's what we can do for you.
I want to defend your wallet.
Please
Can I
do.
defend your income for a second? Here we go. This is my only time probably that I have ever, and probably will ever, defend the epic amount of money that people feel as though attorneys charge. I say epic because people feel like, oh my gosh, $350 an hour. Work with me on this. Somebody should write this down. An elephant in the room right now. The official time. Let me pull it up real quick. The official time. Let's see the official time we're recording this. Okay, so right now it's a March. Let me pull it up here. We got March. Let's see. Okay, March. Yeah, so it's March 15th at 5:16. March. Let's see here. March 3rd. March 3rd at 5:17. March 3rd at 5:17. People right now are cutting hair on my team, and per haircut, I pay myself $2 a haircut. $2. That's what I pay myself. Why not more? Delayed gratification. $2. Why? $2. How much? $2. What? $2. Okay. 4,000 members. Do the math. Awesome. Great. We got it. So now, how many haircuts have I done during this hour? I ask you. How many haircuts? I mean, how many have I said, Charles, real quick, let me cut some hair. Have I answered the phone yet for Elephant in the Room or Make Your Life Epic? Have I done that? Have I taken a sales call for an OxyFresh lead and said, oh, you're probably a great fit. Let me connect you to Matt Klein. Have I done these things? I have not. Have I said, thank you for calling Tip Top Canine. Are you interested in a franchise? Have I done that? Have I taken the call from a renter right now, from a rent house we have? Have I done these things? No. So how can I do it? I nailed it. Nailed it with a hammer. Now then I scaled it. Nailed it, then I scaled it. Now the one thing I can't scale is this right now, this time with you. You and me, one-on-one. We're doing this podcast together. I can't scale that. I can put it on the podcast player and share it with millions of people, but I can't scale my voice talking to you right now. Wes cannot scale what he does. From a legal perspective, you can't do it. And from a practicality, you can't. You can't just say, all right, folks, we're going to do a conference call today, and we're going to have 7 business owners all on the phone. We're going to fractionalize the cost, charge you all $40 an hour. Go.
Yeah, it becomes very hard because at some point, and it, something with a lot of service industries, such, you can hire other good people, and as we all know as business owners, good people are really hard to find.
Yep.
And even then, a profession, the medical industry, the legal industry, you're acquiring knowledge over a span of decades, right? So, I mean, it's not something that you can train someone to do at a high level in a very short amount of time. So you get to a point where your only option to make more money is raise your hourly rate or sit behind your desk for more hours every day. And so that's where attorneys who, are blessed enough to be successful get to a point where they decide, okay, I have this kind of a hockey stick curve of the more experience and the more of a niche I get in, the higher hourly rate I can charge.
Yep.
And so if you can find that niche,
baby,
then you can make more money without working more hours in a week. But if you're in an area, divorce law or, some other areas of law where those attorneys, they are undercutting each other by price.
Talked to a lady today who she said this to me, and I don't know how to pivot it and say it nicely. I'll try. Maybe you can get this. She wanted to be a coaching client. It wasn't a good fit. Why? Unwilling to put in the time, 1. 2, she's been in business for 20 years and doesn't have $1,700 available per month. 3, there's a lot of reasons. I was trying to be nice. And again, I'm just telling you, these are real things. She says, well, if you guys would do a webinar, you could help more than 160 people. And I said, I don't want to help more than 160 people. We have a podcast that millions can download. But when I do one-on-one coaching, every client, we have a unique custom path that I make. And I work with people like Charles and Amber, and we go through the unique application. My program is about the execution of the proven plan. And she says, well, there's another coaching program where it's $50 a call, and you can hop on and ask any questions you want. And it's like a group format, and the guy has like at least 20 people on every call. And I'm going, and not a one of them have a successful company, right? And she says, well, yeah, but they're aspiring entrepreneurs. So I only work with real self-employed people, but again, you can't fractionalize what Wes does. You can't just pay $19 a month for some legal service that you call in, you get a different attorney every time who gives you generalized information. So again, but now Co-Law Fitness, Charles, you don't have to be there manning every machine with your wife going, this is how you do the curls, this is how you do the tricep extensions, this is how you don't have to do that. You have competent people that do that. So I just want to make sure we're getting this, okay? Now, the no-brainer, there can be some pushback there. Values, our final 3, and we're going to go faster. The final 3, values. Anytime you stand up for something, you're sitting down for something else. So this is the Republican National. Well, let's do this. Let's watch it. This is the presidential address. Let me cue it up real quick here. Kendall, you can check it out. This is the presidential address. And again, it's in reverse every year for Republicans or Democrats. It's different every year. But let's watch this, okay? So this is the presidential address, and we're going to type in Pelosi, and we all know what happened. But let me just cue it up here. So we watch it.
God bless you, and God bless.
So this is Trump saying. Trump says,
God bless you, and God bless America.
Now, as he finishes speaking, the Vice President Pence is clapping. And Pelosi stands up, but she is a Democrat on the far left, and she takes his speech and she
thank you very much.
Rips it up. And she takes our page, rips it up. She takes another page, rips it up. Takes another page, rips it up. And Pence is clapping. Pelosi's ripping.
When the speaker
So, again, calm down, Republicans. Calm down, Democrats. I have seen whenever Obama would say something like, and he would do his presidential address, President Obama would say, and that's why we believe in gay marriage. We believe in the right to gay marriage, and the Republicans sit down and the Democrats clap. I've seen Democrats say, and that's why we believe in late-term abortion, murdering babies. And then all the Republicans sit down and the Democrats clap. That's why we believe in universal health care, and that's why the Democrats clap and the Republicans sit. But anytime you stand up for something, you have to sit down for something else. You can't do both. And so many people try to do both, and they lose. You lose both sides of the aisle. So I'll go with you, Wes, and I'll go to the co-law second. When you go out there, Wes, and you stand up for something, let's pick something that's not really offensive.
Okay.
What's your favorite sport?
Rugby.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
Australian League?
No. That's Australian rules football.
Australian rules football.
Rugby is...
is that a sport?
It is a real sport.
Here it starts. Here's the controversy. So rugby.
See, I already offended you, Clay.
No, so let's cue it up. Let me cue up rugby. Let's see. Let's watch this sport. Let's cue it up here.
It's the best sport in the whole world.
Right. Are you aware that other people don't play this sport, Wes?
It's an international sport. Thank you very much.
See, there you go. See what we're doing. I'm just trying to make it. See, I'm trying to stir it up a little bit here. So hit play. Turns out a lot of people play rugby.
You look at this. Well,
now, Wes, the stadium, it looks like a professional baseball stadium. It's kind of empty here, Wes. What's going on?
You pulled up
he had the outside
Super
speed,
Rugby.
and he just had to find a good chase.
What should I search for to find a full stadium real quick? Tell me what to find. What do I need to search for right
now? The Rugby World Cup.
Rugby World Cup. Okay. See, and again, I'm not educated about rugby. Herein lies the confrontation. Okay, so I'm going to hit play.
Huge support for both.
Oh, man, it's full, Wes. You were
They've
right.
got soccer stadiums at capacity.
How big are these
for
things?
rugby.
80,000 people?
Yeah, I mean, these are like soccer stadium size in Europe.
And people are playing. Is this a sport, though, seriously?
Yes.
Are they not
There's
familiar?
high school teams here at Jinx, Union. All the colleges have them.
Do they not have a concussion protocol? You have men tackling each other without helmets, Wes.
Yeah, there's no helmets needed. There's no pads. You just go out, and it's a combination between American football and soccer. The clock never stops, so it's a fitness requirement. Very physical.
A lot of scoring?
Yeah, I mean.
What's going on here? What's
20,
this? What is this scene?
That's called a scrum.
A scrum?
Yeah.
From the root word scrotum?
Yeah.
Sorry. Just asking.
So, yeah, I mean, if you ever find yourself flipping through the channels and you can watch 30 minutes of this game, you'll fall in love with it.
I will say this.
Or asleep.
I'll say this. I grew up playing baseball, but if I had to rank the sports, I would say, for me, the ones to watch, I love watching football, then basketball, then I'll go with rugby. I'll do rugby. Then I'd go baseball, then maybe bowling, then maybe dart throwing, and then somewhere underneath watching people mow the lawns, I'd put golf. And underneath golf, if I was on my deathbed and there was nothing else on, I was all alone, I just needed something and the golf wasn't available and everything else was banned, I would, if they said, sir, do you want to look at a blank screen or watch soccer? I'd probably go with the blank screen.
Static.
White
noise?
No, it's okay. I just want to die in silence. I mean, because I can't stand it. But again, somebody out there says, I love it. I'm just trying to give you examples because soccer turns out to be the world's most popular sport. It is. It's the world's most popular. Whether I like it or not, it's popular. So let's talk about these values. Co-law, Christian-owned fitness company. Can you do that? Charles, have you ever upset somebody with this idea?
Yeah, we just got a review last week that was like,
sweet.
Beautiful gym,
super
friendly staff, great people.
Love it.
And I saw that there was Bibles on the front counter, and it made me feel uncomfortable. One star. 1 star. Bad
star.
1 star. You're terrible.
Bad star.
So just because you got Bibles on the counter, I was offended, and so she wasn't a core value fit.
Yeah,
evidently. And so I feel bad for that take on it. But she at least wrote everything else was great except I didn't like the Bibles on the counter. But
I'll give you a mega point for that. Okay, now I got two final areas of common pushback when you stand out in a cluttered world of commerce. That would be pay and pricing. I have found, and Wes, maybe you disagree, all employees feel like they need to get paid more. I've never had an employee say, hey, can I make less? I mean, I'm kind of to a place in my life where I feel like you need to make more because you started it and put all that money in, and you didn't make any money at all for several years. And remember in your college dorm room when you were working hard? I remember that. And 10 years before meeting you, when you were delaying gratification and living below your means for a decade in a row, I remember that. Those sleepless nights and time where you maxed out every credit card possible to buy that equipment to get it on time for the big event. I remember that. And I remember you paying off the credit card on time to keep that credit score in good shape. And I remember all of it. And I want to tell you, I make too much. And I need you to lower it so that I can feel good. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But by the way, a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm not kidding, a lot of entrepreneurs have started to feel bad about making too much money. And I've had at least 6 of you who've said, Clay, I'm making so much money right now. What should I do with my time? And I'll say, well, step 1, buy me some Yeezys. So that's 14. You got it, because if you feel better to give than to receive. And then when I receive these, I'm so thankful. This is from Kevin with MultiClean. I cannot help myself from naming your company, MultiClean. Kevin, if you live in Tulsa, MultiClean. Kevin, if you don't live in Tulsa, pay the travel fee. Have him come be your professional custodial services. Pay him the travel fee. It's worth it. Kevin with MultiClean is a great American. And by the way, Colton Dixon bought me a pair of Yeezys. And Josh with Da Vinci bought me Yeezys. And if you feel bad, you can mail me Yeezys. And the irony of this Will Work for Yeezys program is it's about as ironic, it's about as crazy as employees coming to you and asking for less pay. It's very rare. But there are certain entrepreneurs that get what I'm doing, and they like to give me Yeezys. But the point is, Wes, there's not a lot of employers that call you with, some conflicts with employees where they say, Wes, I got to talk to you about a legal problem. You say, what is it?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Employees are wanting to make
the union
less.
calls up and says, hey, we would like to take a pay cut, but the owner won't let us.
You never see that scenario, right?
Right. No, and, it's one of those things where, from a value standpoint, yes, your employees are going to think that they are worth more.
Yep.
You're always going to probably inherently think that they're worth less than they actually are. And from a value standpoint, I think as a business owner, you have to kind of be conscious of that. From human nature, I undervalue what you're worth. You undervalue what I'm worth. It's somewhere in the middle.
No, see, you right now, what you're doing, you are simplifying things, because this is crazy. It's like a 3-way battle, because the customer wants to have you charge less.
Yeah.
The employee wants to have you pay them more. And then the third argument is you would like to get something.
Right.
Yes.
A little bit left over.
Yes.
The gospel of wealth, people asked Andrew Carnegie, why did you sell Carnegie Steel at the peak to J.P. Morgan? Why did you do it? He said, I'm done with the conflict. I cannot handle. I'm tired of the employee wanting more, the customer wanting to pay less, and nobody wanting me to get paid. And it's almost become, you've seen how Bloomberg and Trump and Bezos have been demonized for being billionaires. There's very few people that are like, pay them more. So you have it's 3 conflicts. The customer wants lower prices. Employee wants more pay. The owner, as a coach, a lot of times my clients say, you're the only person who's advocated for me ever giving myself a raise in my entire life.
Yep.
And I find more often than not, the clients I've worked with, and it might just be because of the luck of the draw, but usually they're underpaying themselves. There's one local home builder I talked to who does home remodeling.
Yeah.
After paying his employees, he was making like $12 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
On jobs. I'm going, dude, it's not possible for you and your wife to make more than $35,000 a year, and you've been self-employed for over a decade. So I'd like to get the take on this, and then I want Andrew to be able to ask us some questions here on behalf of his clients here. So here we go. Pricing. Let's talk about this real quick. Pricing. Amber, you guys have made Colaw very affordable. It's priced to be a Honda. Mm-hmm. Do you still occasionally have people that want the price to be a little lower?
We do.
And do you have a lot of customers who are happy about the price?
We have a lot of customers who are happy about the price, but we do have people that come in and they'll want a military discount or a senior discount. And
have you had anybody come in wanting to pay more, like irate, like I want to pay more now?
Never.
Can I tell you what I do sometimes? I'm not kidding. I do this sometimes just to see what happens. Sometimes I'm kind of that comical kind of mindset. But I have had specific vendors that I've worked with in the past, just specific ones, not like every time, but where they do a really good job, and I'll send them a text. And it's funny how they respond, but like, I have a burning desire to pay you. I've sent that text a lot. A burning, like my pool guy, we just rehired Jeff to do another pool for us. And I'll text him, I have a burning desire to pay you, because he's great. But they're almost shocked, like, what? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That call gets returned real quick, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, so Andrew, you work with a lot of business owners, and we're talking about today about sticking out, the memorable branding, memorable marketing, how to stand out in the cluttered world of commerce. What questions would you have on behalf of your clients?
Yeah, and this is a question I get a lot because it kind of goes back to the implementing new systems, implementing new sights, new sounds, new smells, just new things in general into the business. So with a lot of employees that have been there for a while, what happens is there's some pushback sometimes. And so they push back. Sometimes it's a little bit more obvious. Sometimes it happens in like a helpful email where they try to suggest new things that would help the business, which typically is a lot of action items for the business owner. So I'm curious for you guys at Cola, how you guys used to handle those emails, those action items, those questions, those suggestions, the pushback, and how you guys handle it now.
Well, I would say when I have people like ask me questions on, about something to change something or some sort of sight, sound, smell, most of the time I kind of look at where they have came from. Are they a resource of wisdom? Have they had a history of track record of success? And then I kind of vet if that's something I would even think of or go into. And most of the time it's not. It's somebody that has never been successful in anything. They just like, hey, this would be really cool if you put like some sort of TV in the bathroom or something. I don't know. I don't want people.
Some guy
so the whole
hanging out
point is, I kind of look at the person. But as far as in sight, sound, smells, taste, touch, all the five senses, the consumer brings their experience through those, which you learn in science class, those five senses, and you want to make sure that your five senses are going to be saturated in a better experience for that ideal and likely buyer in comparison to who your direct competitors are. So if you're making sure that your ideal and likely buyer is experiencing all of those senses in a superior form than all of your competition, then you're always going to win.
Have a funny story that's not it's funny because we're entrepreneurs, but not funny for most people. A young lady on our team about a year ago. And Andrew, how would you describe the racial makeup and the overall gender makeup of our office? Like, just kind of throw it out. Is it mostly white, black, men, women? How would you describe or what is it? Asians? Is it Hispanics?
It's all over the place. Black, white, Asians.
It's almost
everything.
Equal in everything, isn't it? I mean, we look around.
Men, women, yeah, 100%.
So true story though. True. These stories are. I wish I could just script these things and make these funny things up, but I can't. I'm not that creative. This person says, I've noticed that we are only hiring a lot of minorities recently, and I just wanted to know if I had an opportunity to get promoted. Super serious, white guy. So I'm going, what? No, and you've seen this before, Andrew, when I hire.
Yep.
I don't mean to, but there was a wave there for a while where it seemed like we only hired Mormons.
That's true.
And then it was like only Hispanics. And then for a while it was like only women. And then for a really long time it was only African Americans. And I've never had the thought of like, well, we need another African American here right away. We need another whitey to balance it out. The color we're going to balance. I've never had that thought. But he was dead serious. He goes, I think what you need to do is do kind of like a hiring quota. I go ahead. As I'm trying to hear him out, kind of a newer employee. Well, I think if you just like put in the rotation where you're hiring, that way we would know, because I've got friends I want to refer, but if you're only hiring, for this particular time, Hispanics, I think it'd be nice to know when my white friends would come up and be available. I just want to know kind of like how you promote. I'm going, what? No, I'm serious. And he thought that we were promoting only Hispanics for a while. And I think it was or minorities, because Jason had just got promoted and Daisy had just got promoted and, Hispanic and again, people of non-white skin color. And it just kept happening. I don't wake up with a desire to promote African Americans and or to not promote them. I just look for the best people. But that was a legitimate suggestion. When I ran the DJ business, one of the employees said, let's make a suggestion box. And I would tell my wife, this is like our 40th week in a row
box
of horrible ideas. And they're all ambiguous because some leadership expert said, suggest it, but so the employees feel empowered. Don't have them write who did it. Yeah. So it would say, one, like these are the suggestions. I think the owner should raise everyone's pay to a C level, and that way we would really see things at his level. C level with a C, like CEO, CFO. So you could see things at his level. They'll plan words, And then just put LOL. I know you don't read these anyway. And it's like, thank you. And this is what we dealt with every day. Every day. So again, I'm just saying, if you had set any principles, values, smells, sights, sounds, experiences, it's going to irritate somebody. Andrew, what's your next question?
Yeah, so a lot of the clients that I'm working with are they're growing a lot, which means they are also hiring. So they've got more jobs, they've got more things going on, they've got more locations happening. but maybe they've never hired a manager before. So I'm curious for you guys, what was it like when you hired your first manager? What was that, what was the trade-off like when you look at it and say, we're doing all of this work, we have so many points of contact, we want to save some money, because a lot of people don't want to make that jump to the $40,000 to $60,000 a year, that's a trade-off. How is it for you guys when you hired your first one, and what kind of benefits came out of that when you actually hired a manager?
Well, when I go back to thinking about, Jerome back in Bartlesville when he worked with us, if you remember, Amber. And he was a trainer, did really good at training, and super loves people and connecting with people. And we didn't have a lot of reference points because we weren't into business school. I never had gone to college and was running a business that was pretty successful. It was all more based upon, how I felt about this guy's going to really take care of the people well. And if I give him a task list, I know he'll try to really execute on it. And that's really based on what I did. And I did have to realize that at that time, I was paying myself many, many times less than I paid some of my employees. I was paying employees higher than I would actually pay myself, so that I could try to build the company and build the business and get a little more time freedom to go back to school. And I didn't know who to go to, so I would go to college and stuff and to take business classes at night. So I would say that was the first thing. It's very difficult.
That's a scary jump, and we did that with the knowledge that we had at the time.
Yep.
And we knew we just had to learn from it. And so we learned
kind of what to do.
We learned right. You learn a lot from just jumping off the cliff.
I will say this, if you want to jump off the cliff with a parachute, because I agree with you, it's jumping off a cliff, my little parachute for you is have a checklist for the person that you want to get done every day.
Yep.
Please don't hire a manager without a checklist. We've all done it. We've all it's the circle of oops. Don't do that. We've figured it out now. But I'm not talking about a job description. I'm just saying let's get a checklist of what you want them to do every day. Let's do that. 2, have an org chart. Explain to them who they're in charge of. I see so many people that hire a manager, but the manager has no authority. So have an org chart. That would be just those 2 tools will help you a little bit. Just having those things, Charles. Don't you think just
I agree.
Knowing what you expect every day helps a lot?
When me and you really deep dove into talking about when we were starting to build some of these systems, we really broke it down into 3 key sections, and that's basically for our clubs, keeping it clean, keeping it fixed, and loving on people.
True.
And then we built that into different KPIs or key performance indicators. And so that manager then just every day, corporate, or if you're the business owner, you're going to call your manager and you're going to ask him at the end of every day how everything went on that daily manager call, or we call it the daily manager call audit. So you make sure that manager isn't going to leave that day with all action items. They're either done or not done. And so we have about 43 that they have to complete before they leave that day. And so they get a call at the end of the day with the manager or this business owner.
Truth.
And they go through that list.
This has to happen.
And then they make sure that all of that's done. And then they create all their action items for the next day.
This has to happen.
And as long as they do that, you just have to realize that owner has to realize what's the trade-off for that guy to get 50 different key performance indicators covered every day. And how much does that need to cost to be equal to the employee for that difficult of task and time that goes into that. Like you said, anywhere from generally about 40 to 60,000, you can generally give a good job to a good, capable person that's going to knock that out, and then you get all your time back to go back to working on your business, building systems and checklists.
Right. But what Charles just said, 40 to 60,000, is based on the economics of the Midwest. If you're out there in California or New York, where a lot of our listeners are, obviously it's going to be different. But I just want to make sure you understand what he said. The follow-up is super true. Super true. And he talks about paying them well. That's super true. The checklist, you got to have that. Super true. Having the org chart, very important. You have these things. And if you're wanting examples of these, come on out to a workshop. Just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Book your tickets. We go over it. We give all this stuff to you. We give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. We give it away. That's what we do. We have time here, Andrew, for one more question. One more hot and fresh question. What do you got?
Yeah, so I also have a couple clients who have opportunities for growth in multiple different locations geographically. And I know you guys have multiple different locations. Oh, yeah. This is actually going on with like 3 or 4 different clients right now. And so it's a good thing. It's a good opportunity.
Could be a good thing.
Could be a good thing.
Good thing.
Could be
a good thing.
But the reason why it's not so much a good thing is because they have not nailed it yet.
How many wives do you have?
Me?
Yeah, just curious.
I only have one. One wife.
Charles, how many wives do you have right now at this point?
I have one.
Okay, I'll just make sure we get this idea, because we're men. I want to throw this idea out there, okay? There's a lot of people, when you own a business, they don't understand you're not married to them, okay? So when you opened your second club, I'm sure it didn't happen for you. I'll talk about me. When I opened up my second location of DJ Connection, or my second location of Elephant in the Room, or second of Epic Photography, or anything, the person who is first is always upset that you opened up another one, because they're like, you used to call me, baby. You used to call me. These are men we're talking about. These guys would say they used to call me. Clay, if you get this voicemail, I'm just feeling kind of alone on my own out here in Dallas. I just used to talk a lot. And can we talk? Can we talk? Can you call me back? Just give me a call. Boop. Hey, Clay, I don't know if you got my voicemail earlier, but it's been like 24 hours since we've talked, and you used to call me back all the time, and I need some encouragement. And boop. Hey, Clay, I don't know. I was in the shower, and you might have called back, but it was about 4 minutes ago I called you, and I don't know if you're getting these messages. I feel like you're kind of big time in me. Boop. Clay, I'm upset. Call me back. Boop. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And then you realize that the dynamic will never be what it used to be. So, one employee, this is sad stories, but they're helpful. They're helpful. They're sad but helpful. Back in the day, one of my employees got into a car accident. Not a good thing. I had like 5 employees at the time. Young baby business owner. So I'm like, David Crockett of the hospital. I'm showing up there. I remember the Alamo. I'm not leaving. I'll be with you the entire time. There's 5 of us. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. Turning the lobby into like a mobile call center. But when you get to like 50, people still talk about that story. They're like, dude, he was there. He's the kind of boss who will come up there to the hospital and visit you every day. Well, I didn't have kids yet. He would visit you every day. That guy. The legends go on. He would visit me every night. He would come up there and just talk to me. He was the best. And it's like these stories they share. And they go, when he hired me, he took me out to eat. He and his wife took me out to eat. And we met and we connected. And because he was so personal, that's why I came to work there. So that narrative's no longer true. So then when we had 50 some odd employees, the same situation happened. I never forget this. I talked to a guy. He's like, why didn't you visit me in the hospital? I go, well, I don't know how to share this with you. I knew you weren't going to die, and I've got kids, a lot of kids, and I had to choose to visit you or the kids, and I have all these obligations. And he's like, dude, that is so jacked up. I've never spoken to this person again. And that was somebody who had heard the way I used to manage. So when you make that change, Andrew, or client out there listening, you are going to have to set those expectations. And then people don't quit jobs, they quit managers. So you got to have a manager per 10 to 12 employees. You need one competent person. I call this the Jesus rule. Yep. Jesus had 12 apostles. Lee Cockrell, who managed Walt Disney World Resorts, the former executive vice president, did not manage apostles, but he says you should have about 10 or 12 direct reports max. Jack Welch, may he rest in peace, who passed away today, Jack Welch. Oh, yes. He talked about not having more than 12 direct reports. And you got to budget for that stuff. You can't and Andrew, you see it all the time. People don't budget for the manager.
True. Yeah.
They want to pay the manager the exact same, but give them more work.
Yep. Yep.
So if you're out there today and you're saying, I want to enter into this conversation. I want to be more than just an outsider on the outside of the website, kind of, knocking on the door from the time to time, kind of waving in the window. I want to change my life. I'm going to show you something, Kendall, and what we'll put up on the screen here. What I do is I track the growth of our clients that'll let me. Some clients, a little more secretive. It's, some clients, we do a lot of work with the KGB. No, I'm just kidding. But we do a lot of work with clients that are, more secretive. I get it. A lot of franchises, corporate things. But I keep a tracker here, and these are just clients that are cool with me sharing this. But these are clients that, have had success this year. And this year, our average client grew by 104%. So recently, I got a love letter from Aaron Antis, and he read this is, and I'm going to read it to you while I listen to the music that's sang by monks. This is what Aaron Antis, the marketing director for Shaw Homes, wrote. As 2015 drew to a close, I was not sure where the company was going to go to move us past the $24 million in revenue to the place where my drive and ambition wanted us to go. I had sold over $700 million of real estate personally, but I couldn't figure out how to get the rest of my team to have the same drive and ambition. And you get into it. I'm not going to read the whole thing for sake of time, but this is what he says. Little did we know that we would grow from $24 million in 2015 to $49 million in 2016 to $80 million of sales in 2019, and they're on pace in 2020 to do $122 million of sales. That company is called Shaw Homes. You too can do it. You can implement these proven systems. I know you can. You have the diligence. You have the skill set. And now, without any further ado, we'd like to end each and every show with a boom. 3, 2, 1, boom.